Hello guys, this is Roy from Arena Mini 4-Wheel Drive Club, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And for today's video, I'm going to show you about some problem that might cause your car slow. And here I'm trying to show you when you have the problem, when you see your car running on the track and it's getting slow, it's not the speed it used to be, and there's something you might need to check. Okay, so here's there's some like Super X chassis, and there is TZX, and there's Super 2 chassis. And here today we're gonna do the part 1. It will be anything about the gear and wheels. It might cause a problem if your car is doing slow. Okay, so let's check the video and check it out. Okay, so first we're gonna talk about the wheel. So here, let's say like this is the TZX chassis. So the first thing, when you install your car and you realize, when you put on the track, turn on the car and let it run on the track, and then you realize, how come my car is too slow? And the first thing you might need to check will be the shaft, the wheel, that when you install it, is that too tight or not? Because sometimes when you push too tight, then it makes there's no room between the wheels on the chassis, and also there's no rooms for the gear that it can run. So that you totally tight the chassis, like totally tight the gear, so it makes the gear, it doesn't spin in properly. So that will be the problem number 1. First thing, check if the wheels that you have installed can do like small, like shaking. You can do like shaking like this, you can see a little bit. Like, of course, if you have a tools, you can make it tight, but just loose a little bit. And sometimes when you just moving it like this, you can not barely see it, but there is a small gap that you can make your gear has a space to spin. Okay, so that's the first thing you might need to check. And second, the problem that might gonna cause your car slow for the wheel will be, let me give you an example. See, this car is like this car is spinning. You can see the front and the back both are spinning, but actually if I'm tightening these wheels, so making this not moving. But you can see here, see, the gear is not moving. See, the propeller shaft is not even moving, but the wheels is turning. Okay, so here, this is the second thing that you might need to check. Maybe your wheels is loose, so it looks like it's running, but when you put on the track, and actually it's loose, so you cannot check, like you cannot see what's the problem. Because if I didn't tell you and you just let the car running like this, you can't even see the problem. So sometimes you might need to twist it and see what's going on. So if this will be the last thing, unless it's really loose pretty bad. Otherwise, it's very easy to check. So if you try to twist it and it doesn't really that bad, then it should be okay. But sometimes if you cannot find a problem, this might be the problem. Okay, because sometimes you just can't see it, but actually it does damage already. Okay, so this is the problem that you can check for the wheels. Okay, so then next we go to the gear. Okay, let's go. Okay, so for the gear, Here, let me give you example. This is the gear. You can see the teeth on the gear here. It's because this gear is been using for a little, like a while already, so the shape has been changed. The tooth itself, the shape is not that match with the propeller shaft. And what is used to be looks like, you can see here on this one. Let me just check if you can see it properly. Okay, you can see the gear, the teeth. This is the perfect shape, like the brand new shape that should be. Okay, so if your crown gear is already damaged and you realize sometimes, like while your car's slow, that's also gonna be the other problem for the gear. Okay, and the second, we're gonna talk about the, see this yellow gear. Okay, see this yellow gear. This yellow gear, sometimes when it's spinning like this, like let me give you an example. Here I have a 5-to-1 gear. If I spinning, you can see that's totally no problem, right? See, you can see the gear is spinning, front and the back wheel is spinning as well. It doesn't look like there's any problem, but actually, let me hold the green gear, then you can see the green gear is not moving at all, but the crown gear is moving. Can you see that? Okay, so that means the gear, the center of the gear, this hole, because your car fly out, and then because the single shaft car, the motor, like even though your car stuck there, the wheels doesn't turning, but the motor, because the power is still on, so you can see the gear, like the motor still spinning, and the transfer the power to the crown gear, then to the yellow gear, and then it makes the gear actually still spinning, and it makes the center, this hole, is getting bigger because your wheel is not turning it, so it has to release the power, so it makes the gear still spinning, but the shaft inside is stick over there and doesn't move, so it makes the hole getting bigger. And when it's getting bigger and bigger, and that's the problem that you can see. I hold it, the gear is not moving, but the car is still running. Okay, so that's another thing that you could check if there's a problem for your car. Okay, so next we're gonna talk about will be the propeller shaft. Okay, so this is the propeller shaft. So this is the regular propeller shaft. So you can see the regular propeller shaft, there's no problem at all. So there's first thing, when you install the propeller shaft, you have to, after you install it, you can use your finger and to push it. If you can see, the propeller shaft is moving, right? So first, it's same thing as the gear. You have to give it a little bit gap, and to make it be able to spin, and there's enough space for him to spin. And also, you can don't make it too tight, because sometimes the propeller shaft is too tight and the both gear is touching the chassis, then it causes more resistance and makes the car run slow. Also, the other way, if it's too far, and that might just touching the gears, like let's say here it touching the gears, or here it touched the end of the gear, this part, so it's also gonna cause your car slow as well. Okay, so this is the regular propeller shaft. There's no problem, no damages on it. And here, let me show you, this is okay. So here, let me give you example, this one. Okay, you can see this propeller shaft here. You can see up and down, there are damage. You can see the teeth here. There's damages already. So It's same thing happens when your car fly out and got stuck on the floor or out, like stuck somewhere, and the wheel is not turning. And like as I said, the car itself still try to release the power, so it doesn't matter if might gonna damage the gear or crown gear or yellow gear, and sometimes it would damage the propeller shaft as well. So as you can see, this one has been damaged, the gear tooth has been damaged. So when your car, let's put it on, so you can see this one, see, you can let me see if you can hear the noise. See, it's not biting each other, especially to the broken part. When the propeller shaft turns to the broken part, it makes, because there is already a broken, so it makes the shape has been changed. So when the crown gear is trying to touching it, so it can bite each other. So as you can see, the front wheel is not turning, right? Okay, so that's another thing you have to check. The gear is, the shape for the gear is still stay as the regular. Okay, so this is the another thing you can check for the propeller shaft. Okay, and the third will be the other, this one. So this one as well, let me see, let me put it on and see when I, okay, let me just install it. Okay, so here, okay, so for example, this one, you can see here, like still 4 wheels turning, and but when I press the front wheels, you can see the back still turning and the gear is still turning, but the front wheel is not moving at all. So what's that problem? That will be the propeller shaft itself is damaged and also loose. So how can you check the propeller shaft is work properly or not? Is you using your finger and holding the both side and try to twist it. If it's loose, like, of course, don't force too much, just twist a little bit. See, the gear just came off. Okay, so that's the thing you can check for your propeller shaft. All right, so here is the for the propeller shaft part. And for some people, if I'm using I have a TZX, so let me give example. For the TZX, or if you have playing the Super FM, something like that, see this one, I have a example for you. Let's see. Okay, you can see the back of the counter gear. There's a color for red. Okay, I didn't put any colors on it. What is that happens is this one. You can see here, this part has been melted. So what happens is sometimes when the cars get stuck and the gear still try to spinning, and then it create the heat as well, so it causes the gear got melted, and also the motor cover got melted too. So even though I replaced by another one, but still you cannot fix it. So here is the things you might need to check. Maybe you need another motor cover or like motor holders, because it depends if you are having what kind of a chassis that you have. But those are the gear stuff that you could check with. Okay, and the last thing that you can check will be See the crown gear, sometimes you can check the teeth, is the shape stay regularly, like is that the still like shape, like for example the front crown gear. Let me give you, see the crown gear at the front still in pretty good shape, but the rear is not that good. And the other thing, it will be the yellow gear or the counter gear that you can check the, like you can just by just turning like this and check the gear, the teeth one by one, just spin like turning slowly and check if the gear teeth still on the position and everything's still on perfect shape. And if not, then that means okay, then that's the problem, then you have to replace that, repair that part. Okay, so this is the part one, the gear part for the single shaft motors. And next we will talk about the chassis part. Okay, so if you like this video and you want to see more video like this, please like, subscribe and share this video. Okay, I will see you next time. Thank you. And don't forget to press the bell, so next time if I have the new video upload, then you will know it right away. Thank you for support.